The candles were wrong. That's what I noticed first when I walked through the front door that Tuesday evening. The soft flicker of candlelight dancing across the foyer walls. Our good candles. The ones Nicole kept in the cabinet above the refrigerator. The ones she said were too expensive to burn for no reason. The smell hit me next. Beef Wellington. My favorite. A dish she'd made exactly twice in our 7 years of marriage. Once on our wedding night, and once when I closed my first major contract at Shield Corps. I set my briefcase down slowly, feeling that first cold finger of unease trace down my spine. "Baby, is that you?" Nicole appeared in the archway to the dining room, and my breath caught for a moment. She was wearing that dress, the emerald one from our 5th anniversary, the one that cost more than my first car and worth every penny. Her hair was down, the way I liked it. Makeup perfect, smile radiant. "What's all this?" I managed. She crossed to me, wrapped her arms around my neck and kissed me deeply. Does a wife need a reason to spoil her husband? It's Tuesday. And? In October. A random Tuesday in October with no anniversary, no birthday, no promotion. She laughed. Too bright, too musical. "Austin Brooks, you are the most suspicious man I've ever met. Can I just want to do something nice for you? I spent all day on this. The Wellington alone took 4 hours." 4 hours? I watched 3 different YouTube tutorials. The first batch was a disaster. She took my hand, started leading me toward the dining room. I threw it out before you could see my shame. I studied her face as she talked. 7 years. I knew every expression, every micro movement. The way her left eye crinkled slightly more than her right when she was genuinely happy. The way she bit the inside of her cheek when she was nervous. She was biting her cheek now. "Of course you can," I said, and let her lead me to the dining room. The meal was extraordinary. 4 courses, each one perfectly executed. Butternut squash soup with sage brown butter. A pear and gorgonzola salad. The Wellington itself, medium rare, exactly how I liked it. And for dessert, chocolate lava cake with fresh raspberries. She'd even paired wines, something she'd never shown interest in learning before. "I watched some YouTube videos," she explained when I commented on the selection. "Thought I'd educate myself. You always know so much about wine and I just sit there nodding like an idiot." "You've never been an idiot about anything in your life. See? This is why I love you." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "You always know the right thing to say, even when I don't deserve it." That phrasing stuck with me. Even when I don't deserve it. An odd thing to say. What wouldn't you deserve? Nothing. She smiled, but there was something behind it. Something flickering. "I just mean, I know I'm not always the easiest wife. I get distracted with work. I don't always appreciate what we have. But sitting here with you tonight, looking at what we've built." She blinked rapidly. Were those tears? "I'm just grateful, that's all." "Nicole, don't." She laughed, waved her hand. "Don't mind me, I'm being emotional." "More wine?" She was touching me constantly, my hand, my arm, my shoulder when she passed to refill my glass. Like she couldn't stand to be more than 6 inches away from me. After dinner, she led me upstairs. What followed was intense. Passionate in a way we hadn't been in months. Maybe years. She was present, urgent, desperate almost. Whispering how much she loved me, how good I made her feel, how lucky she was. Afterward, she curled against me, her head on my chest, tracing patterns on my skin. "I love you," she whispered. "You know that, right? No matter what happens, no matter what changes, I love you." "I know." "I mean it, Austin. You're everything to me. Everything." I stared at the ceiling long after her breathing deepened into sleep. The house was quiet. The candles had burned down to nothing. and that cold knot in my stomach had become a fist. I'm a cybersecurity expert. I've spent my career learning to recognize patterns, to detect anomalies, to find the threat hiding in plain sight. My brain doesn't shut off just because I'm at home. And everything about tonight was an anomaly. Something was wrong with my wife. I couldn't name it yet, couldn't quantify it. But I knew, with the same certainty I knew when a system had been compromised, that something had fundamentally shifted. This wasn't a woman who had suddenly fallen deeper in love. This was a woman trying to balance a ledger. I didn't confront her. I didn't ask questions. I simply watched. Over the next 10 days, I became an observer in my own marriage, cataloging behaviors with the same clinical detachment I'd bring to a penetration test. Every data point went into a mental file. The intimacy increased dramatically. Where we'd settled into a comfortable rhythm of once or twice a week, Nicole now initiated almost daily. She was enthusiastic, adventurous, suggesting things she'd previously dismissed as not her style. "I want us to be closer," she said one night, apropos of nothing. "I feel like we've been drifting apart and I don't want that. I want to reconnect." "We haven't been drifting," I said carefully. "Maybe not. But I want to make sure we never do." Her interest in my work spiked inexplicably. For 7 years, she'd glazed over whenever I talked about encryption protocols or vulnerability assessments. "That's nice, baby," she'd say, already reaching for her phone. Now she asked follow-up questions, wanted to understand, remembered details I'd mentioned days earlier. "So the new client, Adkins Industries, right? They're worried about insider threats?" "You remembered that?" "Of course I did," she smiled. "It's important to you. That makes it important to me." The compliments were relentless. I was so handsome, so smart, so successful. She was so lucky to have me. Had she mentioned today how lucky she was? "You're in a good mood," I observed one morning as she made me coffee exactly how I liked it. "Why wouldn't I be? I'm married to the most amazing man I've ever known." She stopped complaining about my hours. For years, my late nights at the office had been a source of tension. Now? "Take all the time you need, sweetheart. I know how important your work is. I'll be here when you get home." 3 days after the dinner, a package arrived. A watch. $400, elegant, my exact taste. "I saw it and thought of you," she said. "Just because." Just because? Just because I love you. Is that a crime? But it was the phone that told me the most. Nicole had always been casual with her device, leaving it on counters, tables, anywhere convenient. Now it was always face down, always on silent, always within arm's reach. And when she went to the bathroom, she took it with her. I noticed she was particularly attentive when Tyler's name came up. My business partner. My best friend for 15 years. Godfather to the children we might have had if Nicole hadn't kept saying she wasn't ready. "How's Tyler doing?" she'd ask. Her voice just slightly too casual. Her eyes just slightly too interested. "After the divorce, I mean. That must be hard for him." "He's managing. I worry about him. All alone in that big condo." She tilted her head. "You should invite him to dinner. Poor guy probably lives on takeout and frozen pizzas." "Maybe. He's always been so good to us. To you, especially. You're lucky to have a friend like that." "I know. And he's lucky to have you." She touched my arm, held my gaze. "Everyone's lucky to have you." We hosted a dinner party that Saturday. Nothing elaborate. Just a few couples from our social circle, drinks and appetizers, the usual pretense of adult friendship. Nicole was in top form. Laughing, charming, making sure everyone's glass stayed full. The perfect hostess. The perfect wife. "You two are so cute," Janet Adkins commented to me while Nicole was refreshing the cheese board. 7 years and you still look at each other like newlyweds. Do we? Oh, please. She hasn't stopped touching you all night. Dave and I have been married 12 years. If he looked at me the way you look at her, I'd check him for a head injury. Around 9, Nicole's phone buzzed. I watched her glance at it, watched her expression flicker for just a moment. Was that alarm? Guilt? Before she smoothed it away. "Excuse me," she said brightly. "I need to take this work thing." She disappeared into the kitchen. I gave it 3 minutes, then excused myself to check on the wine. I found her by the back door, phone pressed to her ear, voice low and intimate. "I can't talk now. I told you. We have people here." A pause. "No, it's fine. Everything's fine. He doesn't suspect anything." Another pause, longer this time. "I'll call you tomorrow, same time. You know I will." A soft laugh. "You too." She hung up, turned, and nearly walked into me. "Austin." Her hand flew to her chest. "You scared me half to death." "Everything okay?" "What?" "Oh yes, just Sarah from work. Some crisis with the Henderson account. She's been stressing about it all week." She laughed, but it had that too bright quality again. "You know how she gets. Everything is an emergency." "I know how she gets. Come on." She took my hand, pulled me back toward the party. "I think Dave is about to tell his fishing story again. We should probably rescue everyone." I let her lead me away. But later that night, after the guests had gone and Nicole had fallen asleep, I sat in my home office and logged into our cellular account. 22 calls to an unlisted number in the past month. Some lasting 5 minutes. Some lasting over an hour. All placed between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. while I was at work. Sarah from work? I didn't think so. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I opened a new browser tab and began to work. I didn't go through her phone. That would have been crude, easily discovered. Instead, I did something perfectly legal. I accessed the family iCloud backup. Nicole wasn't particularly tech-savvy. She'd agreed years ago to let me manage our digital security, including automatic backups. She thought deleted meant deleted. She didn't understand that nothing ever truly disappears. It took me 2 hours to find what I was looking for. The messages were to a contact saved only as a heart emoji. Clever, intimate, anonymous. They'd been careful, no names, no explicit details. But the intimacy was unmistakable. Last Tuesday was incredible. I can't stop thinking about it. Our spot at 2? The usual? "I miss you." Is that crazy? We saw each other yesterday and I already miss you. This thing with us, I never expected it, never wanted it, but now I can't imagine my life without it. Do you think he suspects? No. He trusts me completely. Sometimes that makes it worse. And then the message that stopped my heart. I hate lying to him, but I can't stop. I won't stop? Not yet. Sent 3 weeks ago. I sat in the blue glow of my monitor, reading those words over and over. I waited for the rage to come, the screaming, the throwing things, the dramatic confrontation I'd seen in 1,000 movies. It didn't come. Instead, there was only cold clarity. A kind of crystalline focus I usually reserved for the most complex problems. My wife was having an affair. That was no longer a suspicion. It was a fact. And facts required analysis, not emotion. I screenshotted everything, transferred the files to an encrypted folder, restored the backup exactly as I'd found it. Then I went downstairs, where Nicole was watching some reality show, and kissed her on the forehead. "I love you," I said. She looked up, surprised and pleased. "I love you too, baby. Want to watch with me?" "Sure." I settled beside her on the couch, let her curl into my side, felt her hand find mine. On the screen, beautiful people argued about beautiful problems. In my head, I began to plan. I had work to do. The private investigator came recommended by Shield Corps' corporate attorney, Owen Pierce. 48 years old, former FBI, now specializing in what he delicately called high-end domestic situations. We met at a coffee shop across town, far from anywhere Nicole or I would normally go. Owen was exactly what I'd expected. Weathered, watchful, with the kind of eyes that had seen everything and were no longer surprised by any of it. He ordered black coffee and didn't touch it. "Mr. Brooks?" He shook my hand. Firm grip. No warmth. "What can I do for you?" "I need to know who my wife is talking to." I slid a paper with the phone number across the table. "And I need to know everything about them." Owen studied the number, then studied me. "You've already confirmed something's happening." "I've confirmed enough. But you want the full picture before you act." "I'm not interested in emotional decisions. I want data." He nodded slowly, something like approval in his expression. "You understand my rates." "I understand your rates." "And you understand I'll find whatever there is to find. No editing, no softening. Some clients think they want the truth and then they get it, and they wish they'd stayed in the dark. I don't offer refunds for emotional distress. I'm not going to stay in the dark. The only question is whether I'm informed by you or by someone else." Owen tucked the paper into his jacket. "Give me a week." During that week, I noticed something else. Tyler had started acting strange. We'd been partners for 8 years, friends for 15. I knew him almost as well as I knew Nicole. The way he deflected when he was hiding something. The way his laugh went slightly higher when he was nervous. The way he overcompensated with friendliness when he felt guilty. All three tells were in full effect. "Hey, man." He caught me in the hallway after a board meeting. "You got a sec?" "Sure." "How's everything at home?" He leaned against the wall, casual pose, but his eyes were too intent. "Nicole good?" "Fine. Why?" "No reason. She texted me the other day, said you've been stressed, working too hard. You know her, she worries." I kept my expression neutral. "Nicole texted you?" "Yeah, she was concerned." He clapped my shoulder. "Listen, if you need to take some time off, I can handle things here. Cover your meetings, manage the clients, whatever you need. That's what partners are for." "That's generous." "What are best friends for, right?" His smile was too wide. "I mean, we've been through everything together. 15 years. You know I've always got your back." I looked at my best friend. At his easy smile, his open face, his concerned eyes. And I remembered a statistic I'd read once. Most affairs happen with someone the betrayed spouse knows. A friend, a colleague, someone trusted. "Right," I said. "What are best friends for?" Owen called exactly 7 days later. Same coffee shop, same quiet corner booth, same untouched coffee. He slid a manila folder across the table. His expression told me everything I needed to know before I opened it. "The number belongs to a burner phone," he said. "Cash purchase 7-Eleven about 3 months ago, but I tracked the activation location. The cellular tower pinged near a specific address." I opened the folder. Stared at the address typed neatly at the top of the first page. Tyler Mitchell's condo. The world went very still. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." Owen's voice was carefully neutral. "I've also been following your wife for the past 5 days. She's been to that address 3 times. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Always in the afternoon. Always for approximately 2 hours." He slid 3 photographs across the table. Nicole's car parked outside Tyler's building. Nicole entering the lobby. Nicole leaving. Tyler visible in the window behind her, watching her go. I looked at those photographs for a long time. My wife, my best friend, the 2 people I trusted most in the world. "I need more," I heard myself say. "More evidence?" "Everything. Financials, timeline, How long this has been going on. Every message, every meeting, every lie. I want to know exactly what I'm dealing with before I make my next move. Owen nodded, unsurprised. This kind of investigation takes time. Money. I have both. It's going to get ugly. The more I dig, the more I'll find. You might not like what's at the bottom. I'm not paying you to make me comfortable. I'm paying you for the truth. Then I'll be in touch. The next 2 weeks were an exercise in performance. I went to work, attended meetings, solved problems, came home to my wife, accepted her affection, told her I loved her, slept beside her in our bed. I never let her see. It wasn't difficult exactly. I'd spent years learning to compartmentalize, to separate emotion from analysis. In some ways, it was like any other investigation. Gather information, maintain operational security, wait for the full picture before acting. But there were moments. Late at night, when she was sleeping and I was staring at the ceiling, I'd feel it start to crack. The rage I'd been holding back. The grief. The overwhelming why of it all. 15 years I'd known Tyler. 15 years of late nights and early mornings. Of building something from nothing. Of trusting someone with my professional life the way I trusted Nicole with my personal one. We'd celebrated every victory together, weathered every setback. He'd been there when my father died, sitting beside me at the hospital, not saying anything because there was nothing to say. I'd been there when his marriage fell apart, helping him move into the condo, buying him drinks when he needed to talk. And all that time, he'd been waiting, planning, looking at my wife and seeing opportunity. 7 years I'd been married to Nicole. 7 years of plans and promises, of building a life together, of believing we were partners in something real. She'd seen me at my worst and stayed. I'd loved her through her fears and doubts and insecurities. I trust him completely, she'd written. Sometimes that makes it worse. I'd stare at the ceiling and feel the cracks spreading, the pressure building. Then I'd take a breath, seal it away, and wait. Owen would call soon, and then I'd know everything. The full report arrived on a Thursday, delivered personally by Owen to my office after hours. He'd called ahead to make sure I'd be alone. 43 pages, photographs, phone records, financial documents, a complete archaeology of betrayal. You might want a drink for this, Owen said. I poured 2 glasses of scotch. Then I started reading. Duration of affair, 14 months. Not weeks. Not a moment of weakness. Over a year. It started at our company retreat in Aspen. Nicole had come as my +1. She always enjoyed those trips, the nice hotels, the mountain air. I'd had to leave early for a security emergency with a major client. Their system had been breached. They needed me personally. I'd apologized to Nicole, promised we'd come back for a proper vacation. Go, she'd said, kissing me goodbye. I'll be fine. Tyler said some people are staying an extra day to ski. I might as well enjoy it. Nicole stayed. Tyler stayed. From what Owen could reconstruct, it began that night. Drinks at the bar. A conversation that went too long, too deep, too personal. Then her room. Or his. The records weren't clear on that detail, but they were clear on everything after. 2 to 3 meetings per week, regular as clockwork. Tyler's condo was the primary location. Convenient, private, only 10 minutes from Nicole's office. But there were hotels too. The Marriott downtown, the boutique place out by the airport, always paid in cash or on Tyler's card, always during business hours when I'd be safely occupied at work. And once, at our house, while I was in Seattle closing a deal. I read that line 3 times. My house, my bed. While I was working to build our future. The financial traces were damning. Owen had been thorough. A necklace. $3,000. Nicole had shown it to me 6 months ago, said she'd found it at a boutique downtown. Couldn't resist the sparkle. A romantic dinner at La Maison, the French place she'd always wanted to try. A work thing, she'd told me. Boring client entertainment. You would have hated it. Tyler's credit card receipts told a different story. But it was the text messages from 6 weeks ago that explained the sudden shift in her behavior. The guilt offerings, the desperate affection. Nicole. It was negative, thank God. But this was too close, way too close. We need to be more careful, or I need to tell him. I can't keep doing this. Tyler. Don't tell him anything. We'll figure it out. I've got everything under control. Nicole. How can you say that? We almost had to deal with something neither of us is ready for. Tyler. Just keep him happy for now. I need more time. Nicole. More time for what? Tyler. Trust me, a few more months, then everything changes. For both of us. I looked up at Owen. More time for what? He slid another document across the desk. This is where it gets interesting. I read the document, then read it again. Tyler had been shopping Shieldcore to potential acquirers. For 3 months, without my knowledge or consent, he'd been in talks with a major tech conglomerate. Preliminary offers, due diligence discussions, term sheets. The deal structure was elegant if you were the one benefiting from it. Tyler would net $40 million personally. And me? I'd be transitioned out during the organizational restructuring. A generous severance package, according to the notes. Very respectful, very final. He wasn't just sleeping with my wife, he was trying to steal my company. I sat back in my chair, the scotch sat untouched in my hand. There's one more thing, Owen said. He sounded almost apologetic. I did some forensic accounting. Your partner's been skimming, small amounts, over years. He's careful, buries it in expense reports, consultant fees, creative travel reimbursements. But it's there if you know where to look. Close to $200,000 total. $200,000. My money. Our company's money. Stolen by the man I called my best friend while he smiled at me across conference tables and talked about our shared vision. Mr. Brooks, Owen leaned forward. In my experience, when I deliver news like this, people react in one of two ways. They either break down or they start planning. Which one are you? I met his eyes. What do you think? He nodded slowly. I think you're going to need a good lawyer, maybe two. I know some people. The divorce attorney's name was Catherine Hayes. Kate. 41 years old, reputation like a blade, known throughout the city for protecting high-net-worth individuals in exactly these situations. Her office was all glass and steel, modern art on the walls, a view that probably cost more than my first house. She read Owen's report while I sat across from her, waiting. Finally, she set it down. You had a prenuptial agreement. I did. With an infidelity clause. Yes? She looked up, something like approval in her eyes. Smart man. Most people don't think about these things until it's too late. By then, they're negotiating from weakness. Nicole fought it at the time, said it showed I didn't trust her. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I told her it was standard for someone in my position, protection for both of us. She cried for 2 days, then signed. And now it's protection for you. Kate pulled out the prenup, scanned the relevant clauses. This is solid work. If either party is proven to have committed adultery, they forfeit claims to marital assets beyond personal property. She signed it, initialed every page, had her own attorney review it. She did. Then when we file, she gets nothing. No house, no stake in the business, no alimony. Kate set down the document. Do you want to proceed? Yes. My advice, coordinate with your corporate action. Hit them both at once. The divorce and the business move same day. Don't give them time to communicate, to coordinate a response, to get their stories straight. Shock and awe. You want them reeling before they have a chance to think. I was thinking the same thing. Kate smiled. It wasn't a warm expression. I think we're going to work well together, Mr. Brooks. My sister knew something was wrong. Emma had always been perceptive. It's what made her good at her job as a paralegal, and what made her nearly impossible to hide things from. She cornered me at our mother's Sunday dinner, catching me alone in the kitchen while I refilled my wine. "Hey," her voice was low. "Talk to me." "About what?" "Don't." Her voice sharpened. "Don't do that with me. I'm not one of your business contacts. Something's wrong. I can see it in your face and the way you're holding yourself. You've lost weight. You're not sleeping. And you're looking at Nicole like she's a stranger." She grabbed my arm. "Is it Nicole?" I looked at my little sister. 5 years younger, fierce as a wildcat, loyal to a fault. She'd never fully trusted Nicole. Had said from the beginning that something felt off to her, something she couldn't quite name. I dismissed it as sibling protectiveness, the way younger sisters always find fault with the women who steal their brothers away. Maybe I should have listened. "It's Nicole," I said quietly. "Tell me." So I did. All of it. Tyler. The affair. The business betrayal. The pregnancy scare. The carefully orchestrated guilt offerings designed to keep me docile while they plotted. Emma's face went through several expressions: shock, rage, grief, then something cold and determined that reminded me sharply of our father. That absolute... She caught herself, glanced toward the living room where our mother was chatting with Nicole. I knew it. I knew there was something wrong with her. "Emma, no, listen." She pulled out her phone, scrolled through her photos. "Remember last year? The spa day she dragged me to? We went to dinner after. She got drunk, really drunk. Started talking about Tyler. How lucky you were to have such a good friend. How charming he was. How special their connection was. You never mentioned that. I thought it was weird. Just girl talk, you know? But something about the way she said it." Emma shook her head. "I should have said something. I should have..." "It wouldn't have changed anything." "Maybe not." Emma's eyes were hard. "But it's going to change things now. What do you need from me?" "Information. Watch her. Listen to her conversations. Tell me anything useful." "Done?" She squeezed my arm. "We're going to bury them, Austin. Both of them. They picked the wrong family to betray." Emma's first report came 3 days later. "She's been talking to Daniel," she said over the phone, her voice hushed. "Her brother. From what I can tell, she confessed to him a couple weeks ago. Needed someone to talk to about her situation. Daniel knows?" "He knows." This was unexpected. Daniel and I had always gotten along well. Better, honestly, than either of us got along with Nicole. He was a firefighter, straightforward, with a moral compass that made most people look like politicians. When we got married, he'd taken me aside and said, "She's my sister and I love her, but I know her flaws. You ever need to talk to someone who actually knows her? I'm here." How did he take it? That's the interesting part. Emma paused. According to what I could piece together from her phone call with Mom, he's furious, not at you, at her. 2 days later, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Daniel. We need to talk. In person. Alone. Don't tell Nicole." We met at a bar on the south side of town, the kind of place where nobody asks questions and nobody remembers faces. Neon beer signs and country music and the smell of old cigarettes. Daniel was already there when I arrived, hunched over a beer, looking like he hadn't slept in a week. "Austin." He didn't offer his hand, just stared at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Sit down." I sat. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The jukebox played some song about heartbreak and highways. "She told me 2 weeks ago," Daniel finally said. His voice was rough, like he'd been screaming or crying or both. She called me out of the blue, said she needed to talk to someone. Said she was drowning in guilt and didn't know what to do. What did she tell you? Everything. Or at least, everything she wanted me to know? He took a long drink. The affair. Tyler. How it started as nothing. A few drinks, a conversation that went too far. How she never meant for it to become more. How she'd tried to stop but couldn't. Tried to stop? Daniel laughed bitterly. That's what she said. Tried 3 times. Couldn't. Because she had feelings for him. Because being with him made her feel alive. He shook his head. As if that excuses anything. What else? She asked for my advice. Asked if I thought she should tell you. What did you say? I told her she should have told you 14 months ago. I told her what she's done is unforgivable. I told her she disgusts me. He flagged down the bartender, ordered another beer, ordered one for me too. She's my sister, Austin, my blood. And I love her, even now, I can't help that. But you're my brother. He met my eyes. That's how I've always seen it. From the day you married her, you became family. And what she's doing, what they're doing, it's a betrayal of everything family is supposed to mean. Does she know you feel this way? She does now. He slid my beer across the bar. I want to help you, Austin. Whatever you're planning, and I know you're planning something because you're not the type to sit back and take it. I want to help. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. His jaw tightened. And because I want to see her face when she realizes you knew everything. When she realizes she never fooled anyone but herself. I studied this man, my wife's brother, my brother by marriage, sitting across from me with nothing to gain and everything to lose by taking my side. What can you tell me about her plans? Daniel leaned in. She's going to tell you, soon. But not the truth, a sanitized version, a one-time mistake. She wants to manage the narrative, confess before you find out on your own so she can control how it sounds. And Tyler's telling her to wait. Says he needs you stable for a few more months. Something about a business deal that's almost done. The acquisition. Of course. Tyler needed me calm and unsuspecting until the deal closed. The affair wasn't just betrayal. It was strategy. Keep Austin happy. Keep Austin blind. Steal his company and his wife in one smooth motion. They're using you, Daniel said. Both of them. Your ignorance is strategic. And when Tyler gets what he wants, he's planning to leave his friend in the dust and start fresh with your wife. He told her that? In so many words. She showed me some of the texts. Daniel's expression twisted with disgust. They talk about their future together, about traveling, about having kids. He paused. The kids she kept telling you she wasn't ready for. I absorbed that. Filed it away. Another data point. Another betrayal. When were they planning to tell me? After the deal closed. Tyler said he wanted you taken care of first, whatever that means. It means he wanted the acquisition complete before the divorce. That way, my equity would be worth more, worth fighting over. With Nicole positioned as his new partner, they could try to claim a share of my payout. Daniel stared at me. They planned this? Maybe not explicitly, but Tyler's always been a planner. He sees opportunities others miss. I laughed bitterly. That's what made him such a good businessman, and apparently, such a good schemer. What are you going to do? What I always do when I face a threat. Analyze it, plan for it, and neutralize it before it can do more damage. Daniel nodded slowly. You're a dangerous man, Austin. I've always thought that. Quiet, patient, smart, dangerous. Only to people who cross me. Then they picked the wrong man to cross. He raised his glass. To justice. I clinked my glass against his. To justice. Thank you, Daniel. Don't thank me yet? He finished his beer. I'll keep you updated on anything I learn. But Austin, whatever you do, make sure they both suffer. Make sure they never forget the price of what they've done. The next 3 weeks were preparation. Meticulous, methodical, precise. On the business front, I met quietly with ShieldCore's corporate counsel, the same attorney who'd helped us incorporate 8 years ago. I presented the evidence. Tyler's unauthorized acquisition negotiations, his breach of the operating agreement, the years of embezzlement. The company's founding documents were clear. Major decisions required both founders' approval. Tyler had violated that agreement comprehensively. You have grounds to remove him, the attorney confirmed. For cause. His equity stake can be frozen pending legal review. It won't be pretty, but you'll win. I secured proxy support from our minority shareholders and board advisors, presenting just enough evidence to earn their trust while keeping the full picture private. When the time came, the vote would be decisive. On the personal front, I worked with Kate Hayes to finalize the divorce filing. I moved liquid assets into protected accounts, legal, documented, unimpeachable. I secured copies of every critical document. I found a new apartment downtown with a view of the city and signed a lease, move-in date strategically chosen. And through it all, I kept playing the part. The happy husband, the trusting friend. I accepted Nicole's affection with grace, smiled at her compliments, made love to her with convincing enthusiasm, told her I loved her every day. You seem happier lately, she observed one morning, running her fingers through my hair. More relaxed. Do I? It's nice. I feel like we've really reconnected, you know? Like we've found each other again. Maybe we have. She kissed me softly. I love you, Austin. So much. I love you too. I even took her on a weekend trip to the bed and breakfast where we'd honeymooned. Her idea, but I agreed readily. One last performance before the curtain fell. This is so perfect, she whispered as we watched the sunset from our room. There were tears in her eyes, real ones, I thought, though I could no longer be sure. I love you so much, Austin, more than anything in the world. You know that, right? I know. I don't deserve you. I really don't. I almost laughed at that. Almost. You deserve everything, I said instead. Everything you have coming. She heard what she wanted to hear, smiled, kissed me, fell asleep in my arms. I stared at the ceiling and counted the days. Day 91 began at 5:30 a.m. I woke before the alarm, dressed quietly in the dark, and stood for a moment looking at Nicole sleeping in our bed. Her face was peaceful, innocent, almost. Hard to believe that face had lied to me thousands of times. She stirred as I was putting on my shoes. Austin? Her voice was thick with sleep. What time is it? Early, I have a meeting. Come back to bed. She reached for me, eyes still closed. It's Saturday. Board thing, emergency session. I'll be back this afternoon. She was already drifting off again. Love you. I bent and kissed her forehead. I know. Then I walked out of our bedroom for the last time. The emergency board meeting convened at 8:30 a.m. The conference room had been set up per my instructions. Documents at every seat, security guards stationed at the doors. Tyler arrived at 8:28, coffee in hand, looking relaxed and confident. Just another boring Saturday meeting. His expression changed when he saw the guards. Austin? He set down his coffee. What's going on here? Have a seat, Tyler. Why are there security guards in our building? Sit down. Something in my voice finally registered. The color started to drain from his face as he looked around the room, at the board members already seated, at their carefully neutral expressions, at the thick folders in front of each of them. He sat. I stood at the head of the table and began. Over the past 3 months, Tyler Mitchell has been in unauthorized negotiations to sell Shield Core Technologies to an outside acquirer. These negotiations were conducted without my knowledge, without my consent, and in direct violation of our operating agreement. Tyler's mouth opened. Austin, wait. I'm not finished. I slid a folder down the table. Additionally, forensic accounting has revealed that Mr. Mitchell has embezzled approximately $197,000 from this company over the past 4 years, concealed through falsified expense reports, phantom consultant fees, and creative travel reimbursements. This is insane. Tyler stood so fast his chair scraped against the floor. This is absolutely... The documents are in front of you. Everything is verified. Bank records, email communications, signed term sheets from potential acquirers. I kept my voice flat. Calm. I've had forensic accountants reviewing our books for 3 weeks. Every transaction is documented. The board members opened their folders. Read. The room was silent except for the rustle of pages. I move that Tyler Mitchell be removed as CEO effective immediately, I said, and that his equity stake be frozen pending civil and criminal investigation. You can't do this. Tyler's voice had gone high, desperate. You don't have the authority. Actually, he does. Margaret Erickson, our longest-serving board member, looked up from the documents. Article 7, Section 3. Removal for cause requires a 2/3 vote. Given what I'm reading here, she shook her head slowly. I vote yes. The vote was 4-1. Tyler voted no. Everyone else voted yes. Tyler turned to me and I saw something break behind his eyes. The charisma, the confidence, the easy charm that had carried him through every situation for 15 years. Austin, his voice cracked. We've been a lot of things. I met his eyes. Friends isn't one of them. Not for a long time. Security escorted him from the building. He was still shouting threats and denials. You'll hear from my lawyers. This isn't over. You're making the biggest mistake of your life. When the elevator doors closed on his face. I looked at my watch. 9:47 a.m., right on schedule. Tyler's first call to Nicole went to voicemail. She was still asleep, phone on silent, enjoying her Saturday morning. His second, third, and fourth calls did the same. At 11:15, she finally picked up. I wasn't there, but I imagine how it went. Tyler's panicked voice, the disbelief, the dawning horror as she realized the carefully constructed house of cards was collapsing. She left whatever she was doing immediately and broke at least 3 traffic laws to get home. I was waiting when she arrived. I'd arranged the kitchen table carefully. The photographs from Owen's investigation, the phone records, the text message transcripts, the financial documents showing the necklace, the dinners, the hotels, the prenuptial agreement with the infidelity clause highlighted in yellow. Nicole burst through the door at 11:48, already talking before she saw me. Austin, Tyler called. Something crazy happened at your company. He says you've lost your mind. He says... She stopped. Looked at the table. Looked at me. The color drained from her face. Sit down, Nicole. Austin. Sit. Down. She sat. Her hands were shaking. Her perfectly applied makeup was starting to smear where tears were already forming. I know about the affair, I said. My voice was calm, clinical. I've known for weeks. I know it's been going on for 14 months. I know it started in Aspen when I left the retreat early. I know you've been meeting at Tyler's condo, at hotels, and once in our bed while I was in Seattle. Austin, please. I know about the pregnancy scare 6 weeks ago. I know Tyler told you to keep me happy until his deal went through. I know about the acquisition he was planning, the one that would have made him rich and pushed me out of my own company. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Just silent tears streaming down her face. Tyler is no longer CEO of Shield Core. His equity is frozen. The board removed him this morning based on evidence of embezzlement and breach of fiduciary duty. His career in this industry is finished. Oh my God. Now let's talk about us. I slid the prenuptial agreement across the table. You remember this? The one you said showed I didn't trust you? She stared at it like it was a serpent. Article 4, Section 2. In the event of proven infidelity by either party, the offending party forfeits all claims to marital assets beyond personal property. I slid the divorce papers across next. Sign where indicated. Your attorney can contact mine. You have 30 days to vacate the house. Austin, wait. She was sobbing openly now. Please, we can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. I made a mistake. 14 months is not a mistake. A mistake is a night, a moment, a single terrible decision you regret the next morning. I leaned forward. What you did was a choice. Hundreds of choices. Every day for over a year, you woke up beside me and chose deception. You looked me in the eyes and chose to lie. You took my trust and weaponized it against me. I love you. Do you? Or do you love the life I provided? The house? The security? The image of the perfect marriage to show your friends? I shook my head. You don't love me, Nicole. You never did. You loved what I represented. And the moment you found something more exciting, you threw it all away. That's not true. She reached for me. I pulled away. Austin, please. I do love you. I never stopped loving you. Tyler was, I don't know what he was. An escape? A fantasy? But you're my reality. You're my life. Then why didn't you tell me? 14 months. Any day, you could have come to me. Confessed. Given us a chance to work through it together. She had no answer. I know what you were planning, I continued. The sanitized confession, the tearful apology, the carefully managed narrative. You were going to tell me just enough truth to seem honest while hiding everything that mattered? I stood. But here's what you don't understand. I've known everything for weeks. Every call, every meeting, every lie. While you were planning your performance, I was planning mine. Austin, your own brother came to me? Did you know that? Daniel. He couldn't stomach what you were doing. He chose me over you. Her face went white. Whatever was left of her composure shattered completely. Daniel? He told me everything. The texts, the plans, the future you and Tyler talked about, the kids you were going to have together, the same kids you kept telling me you weren't ready for. No, that's not, I never meant. Sign the papers, Nicole. Move out in 30 days and live with the consequences of your choices. Austin, please. She was begging now, desperate. I'll do anything. Counseling, therapy, whatever you need. I'll cut off all contact with Tyler. I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you. Please, don't do this. I walked to the door. Austin. I paused with my hand on the doorknob. Didn't turn around. The guilt offerings were never enough, I said. All the dinners, the intimacy, the compliments, the expensive watch. None of it could balance the ledger, because guilt isn't currency. You can't spend enough of it to buy forgiveness. Please. The only thing that could have saved us was the truth. Simple, painful, honest truth. From the beginning, or even somewhere in the middle. A real confession instead of a managed one. I opened the door. But you chose the lie. Every day, you chose deception. And by the time the guilt became unbearable, it was already too late. I walked out. Behind me, I heard her collapse into sobs. I didn't look back. Tyler tried to reach me, of course. Dozens of calls over the next few days. Emails. Even showed up at my office once before security escorted him out. Austin, he was shouting from across the lobby. Just talk to me. We can work this out. 15 years, man. 15 years. I watched from my office window as they put him in his car. He sat there for a long time, head in his hands. Then he drove away. Emma called that night. How are you holding up? I'm managing. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now. She was quiet for a moment. Want me to come over? No, I need to process by myself. Okay. I could hear the worry in her voice. But I'm here, whenever you need me, day or night. I know. I'm proud of you, Austin. What you did today, it took guts. A lot of men would have crumbled. A lot of men would have seen it coming. Don't. Her voice sharpened. Don't do that to yourself. They were master manipulators, both of them. They spent over a year perfecting their lie. That's not on you. Isn't it? No, it's on them. Every bit of it. I didn't believe her. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it was good to hear. Thanks, Emma. Call me tomorrow. Let me know you're still breathing. I will. I hung up and poured myself another scotch. Outside, the city hummed with life. Traffic and sirens and the distant thump of music from somewhere. Normal people living normal lives, unaware of the small dramas playing out in apartments all around them. I wondered how many other men were sitting alone tonight, having discovered the same terrible truth. How many marriages were crumbling right now, in this moment, in this city? How many trusts betrayed? How many hearts broken? It didn't make me feel better, but it made me feel less alone. Nicole called me 4 days later. I'd been expecting it. She wasn't the type to give up without a fight. Austin. Her voice was hoarse, raw. Please, can we talk? Just talk. I'm not asking you to take me back. I need you to understand. Understand what? Why? Why it happened? Why I did what I did? Does it matter? It matters to me. She was crying again. It seemed like she was always crying now. I need you to know I never meant to hurt you. I never meant for any of this to happen. And yet it happened anyway. Yes. A long, shaky breath. Yes, it did. And I have to live with that for the rest of my life. But Austin, you have to believe me. I love you. I've always loved you. Even when I was with him, I loved you. That's not love, Nicole. That's convenience. That's keeping your options open. No. You don't get to redefine what love means to excuse what you did. Love is faithful. Love is honest. Love is showing up even when it's hard. What you showed me was the opposite of all those things. She was quiet for a long moment. I know you hate me. I don't hate you. The words surprised me, but they were true. Hating you would require caring about you. And right now, I'm not sure I do. You're not my wife anymore, Nicole. You're just someone I used to know. Austin, take care of yourself. I hung up the phone. It rang again immediately. I turned it off and went to bed. I drove to my new apartment that night. The one I'd rented 3 weeks ago, preparing for exactly this moment. The movers had already brought over the essentials: a bed, a couch, some kitchen basics. I sat on the balcony and watched the city lights and waited to feel something. The rage came first. It started as a tremor in my hands and built into something vast and terrible, a howling fury I could barely contain. I wanted to break things. I wanted to drive to Tyler's condo and beat him senseless. I wanted to watch Nicole suffer the way I was suffering, but I didn't do any of those things. I just sat there, breathing, letting it wash through me and out of me. Then came the grief, deeper than the rage, quieter. 7 years of marriage, 15 years of friendship, gone in an instant, or rather, gone slowly, imperceptibly, over 14 months of lies and stolen afternoons and my own blind trust. I thought about the first time I'd met Tyler. Sophomore year of college. He'd been holding court in the common room, telling some ridiculous story that had everyone laughing. I'd walked by, planning to ignore him, but he'd called out, "Hey, you're in my econ class, right? Brooks, come sit down. I'm buying pizza. We'd been inseparable after that. He was the extrovert to my introvert, the salesman to my engineer. When I'd had the idea for Shield Core, he was the first person I'd called. "We're going to change the world," he'd said. "You and me, Austin. Partners until the end." I thought about Nicole. Our first date at that terrible Italian restaurant where the pasta was overcooked and the wine was cheap, and I'd been so nervous I could barely speak. She'd laughed at all my jokes anyway, told me I was refreshingly genuine. Our wedding day. The look on her face as she walked down the aisle. The tears in her eyes when she said, "I do." All those years, all those memories, corrupted now, tainted by what I knew. I stayed on that balcony until the sun came up. Then I showered, dressed, and went to work. There was a company to run. The next months passed in a blur of legal proceedings and corporate restructuring. Tyler faced formal charges for embezzlement. His attorney negotiated a plea to lesser charges: probation, full restitution, no prison time. But his reputation was destroyed. The acquisition deal collapsed immediately. The buyer wanted nothing to do with leadership instability. Within 6 months, he'd left the city entirely. Nicole contested nothing. The prenup was ironclad, the evidence overwhelming. She received her personal belongings, her own savings, and nothing else. The house was mine. The business stake was mine. The life we'd built was mine to rebuild or raise as I saw fit. Her family split down the middle. Daniel refused to speak to her, wouldn't take her calls, wouldn't respond to her messages. Her parents were devastated, but couldn't bring themselves to condemn their daughter. She tried to reach me once, about 3 months after the divorce was finalized. A letter, hand-delivered by courier, 5 pages of apology and explanation and pleading. I read it. Didn't respond. Filed it in a drawer and never looked at it again. Shield Core thrived under my sole direction. Without Tyler's constant push for shortcuts and his expensive taste in business development, we became leaner, more focused, more profitable. Within a year, we'd doubled our client base. I sold the house, bought a place downtown with a view of the city lights. Started seeing a therapist, Emma's suggestion. Not for the marriage, really, for the friendship. Losing Tyler hurt almost as much as losing Nicole. "They were both your partners," the therapist said. "Both betrayals strike at the same wound. Can I trust my own judgment anymore? You figured it out. You saw the signs and you acted. That's not the behavior of someone whose judgment can't be trusted." 6 months after the divorce, I was sitting on my balcony watching the city lights when my phone buzzed. An email from a journalist, someone writing about corporate betrayals in tech. She'd heard about the Shield Core situation. Would I be interested in telling my story? I thought about it. The rage had faded by then. The equation had been balanced. The people who'd tried to destroy me had destroyed themselves instead. I typed, "Thank you for reaching out. I'm not interested in sharing my story publicly. Some battles are best won in silence." I sent the email, closed the laptop, poured myself a scotch. Nicole's guilt offering had never been enough. All the candles and 4-course meals and expensive watches in the world couldn't buy absolution for 14 months of betrayal. The only thing that could have saved us was truth. And she'd chosen the lie. Some debts can't be repaid. Some trust, once broken, stays broken forever. I finished my drink, went inside, closed the door on the night and the past. Tomorrow would be a new day. The end.